Welcome to the Nordic Venture Show, your speed date with the coolest ventures, brightest founders, and exciting things happening in the Nordics. In this episode, our venture date is with TrackSights, automotive insights through data and automation.
You know that feeling? When you're just trying to figure out what's really going on in the automotive market.
Oh, yeah.
It feels like you're just wading through this endless stream of data, right? And making any kind of decision takes forever.
It absolutely can. Information overload is a real thing there.
Well, that's exactly the kind of challenge we're looking into today. We're doing a deep dive into TrackSights. It's a platform specifically built for the auto industry, aiming to, well, make sense of it all.
Exactly. We've been looking at what the platform actually does, its features, but also, maybe more importantly, the story behind it. Why did they build it?
Right. What's a core problem they saw?
Precisely. Getting beyond just a list of functions.
And for you listening, this is really about how tools like this might help you work smarter, faster.
Yeah, getting a better grasp on market dynamics, making those decisions with more confidence.
It's about getting that crucial knowledge, that deep insight, but, without drowning in spreadsheets.
Definitely. We looked at info about their features, their whole About Us section, the mission, the team involved.
So, jumping right in, what's the big problem TrackSights is trying to solve?
Well, it boils down to that complexity we mentioned. The automotive market, it's just notoriously intricate and sometimes, frankly, inefficient.
Things move slower than they maybe should.
You could see that. So TrackSights' core goal, their main aim, is to make this whole market easier to understand for everyone involved.
Okay, make it understandable. How? What's their angle?
Their big idea revolves around using AI-powered data.
AI-powered data, okay.
Yeah, the concept is using intelligent analysis to help people make decisions faster and hopefully make smarter decisions too.
So not just more data, but smarter data.
Exactly. It's about harnessing it effectively. They talk about transforming the industry with data-driven simplicity.
Data-driven simplicity. I like the sound of that. But AI-powered. What does that actually mean in practice? Are we talking robots reading reports?
Yeah. Not quite robots. Think of it more like having a really, really smart assistant.
Okay.
One that can sift through huge amounts of information, spot patterns, connections, things a person might miss or take ages to find.
Right. Algorithms crunching numbers.
Basically, yes. Machine learning models processing complex data sets way faster than we could manually. They can highlight trends, flag potential opportunities, or even risks.
I see. So that's the brain behind it. How does that turn into actual tools someone can, click on and use?
Well, a big piece is what they call comprehensive data integration.
Integration, meaning pulling stuff together.
Exactly. Making it easy to access and combine data from loads of different EU sources. Think online car marketplaces, government databases, maybe specialized automotive data services.
Oh, so instead of logging into 5 different websites?
Bingo! It's all supposed to be in one place. Imagine the time that saves, right? Just not having to bounce between systems and try to match up different data sets.
Oh, absolutely. That alone sounds valuable.
But they don't just collect it, do they? You mentioned insights.
Correct. They emphasize actionable market insights. It's about going beyond just showing you raw numbers.
So what does an actionable insight look like? Give me an example.
Okay, maybe it flags up a sudden rise in demand for, say, small electric SUVs in a specific region.
Right.
Or it might spot a subtle shift in used car pricing based on data from multiple marketplaces that you wouldn't see looking at just one. It's information designed to directly help you make a business decision.
Got it. So it's data with a purpose, telling you something useful for your next move.
Precisely.
Now, they also mention automated calculations at scale, things like residual values, depreciation. Can you quickly unpack residual value for anyone less familiar? Why is that so critical?
Sure. Residual value is essentially the predicted value of a vehicle at the end of a certain period, like a lease.
Okay, what it'll be worth down the road. Exactly. And getting that prediction right is super important for leasing companies, banks, anyone financing cars. It affects the lease price, their profit, how much risk they're taking on.
And calculating that is tricky.
It can be really complex, yeah. Lots of factors involved. Traditionally, it's time-consuming and, humans can make errors. So TrackSights automates these calculations, residual values, depreciation rates, even things like steel price trends that affect the industry. It's done instantly, consistently.
Wow, okay. That sounds like a massive time saver and error reducer.
It really does. Fewer mistakes, much faster results.
And they get quite specific, too, mentioning seamless Danish tax and trade price workflows. How does that help folks in Denmark?
Well, Denmark has its own, let's say, unique rules around car registration taxes. They can be quite complicated to calculate.
Ah, local regulations.
That's right. So TrackSights automates those specific Danish tax calculations and helps figure out trade prices according to local standards. It just removes a headache for businesses operating there.
That makes sense. Tailoring it to the local market is key.
Definitely.
And what about businesses managing lots of vehicles? They mentioned fleet management simplified. What does that involve?
This seems to be about tools for keeping track of the value of your entire fleet of vehicles.
Okay.
So monitoring how much the whole fleet is worth, how quickly individual cars or the whole group are depreciating.
And that helps you decide when to sell or keep them.
Exactly. Making those sell-retain decisions based on data, not just gut feeling. The aim is to improve how efficiently and profitably the fleet is managed.
Makes sense. Now, you can have the best data engine in the world, right? But if the dashboard looks like a plane's cockpit.
Yeah, usability is huge.
They talk about an intuitive user experience.
Yeah.
What makes theirs stand out, apparently?
They seem to really focus on a clean, sort of sleek design, easy to navigate, finding what you need without clicking around endlessly.
Less clutter.
That seems to be the goal. Moving away from those really dense, complicated interfaces that can honestly be pretty intimidating. If it's easy to use, people are more likely to actually use it and get value from it.
Good point. A smooth interface makes a difference day to day. Okay, but with all this data flying around, accuracy is crucial. How reliable is it? They mention reliable data, trusted partnerships.
Yeah, that's key. They have long-term partnerships with leading data providers across the EU.
So they're not just scraping random websites.
Doesn't sound like it. It suggests they're carefully choosing their sources, working with established, reputable companies that supply automotive data.
And those partnerships build trust in the insights.
That's the idea. You can have more confidence in the analysis if you know the underlying data comes from trusted, vetted sources.
Absolutely. It all seems to tie into this philosophy they mentioned, less is more. They automate the heavy lifting to show you the essential stuff first for quick decisions. But what if you want the nitty-gritty details?
That's an important distinction they make. While the focus is on presenting those key takeaways up front for speed,
Yeah.
they also say all the underlying data, all the calculations, it's still fully accessible.
Ah, okay. So you get the quick summary, but you can drill down if you need to.
Exactly. It caters to both needs the quick glance and the deep dive analysis.
That flexibility sounds useful. Now, to get a feel for how this actually works for people, we saw some client feedback, didn't we?
We did. Some interesting quotes.
Yeah, like Ryan B. called it as intuitive as it is powerful, saying everything just works. That's high praise.
Definitely. And Vivek T liked the depth and quality of the data, even comparing it to having an entire research team in one tool.
Wow. Castor M mentioned saving time, being able to search across multiple data sources effortlessly.
That echoes the integration point we discussed.
Right, and Marina W. found the automated calculations are spot on and streamline their work. Peter H. liked getting everything I need at a glance, but also having the option to dig deeper.
Which matches that less is more, but more is available idea.
Exactly. And Camilla A. said it provides a perfect balance for making fast decisions. It seems like users are genuinely finding value in these specific areas.
Yeah, these comments really seem to back up the key features they promote, the ease of use, the data quality, the time saved through automation. It's one thing for a company to say it, another for users to confirm it.
True. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Why are they doing this? What's the story behind TrackSights? Their vision.
They're quite upfront about having a real passion for transforming the automotive industry with data-driven simplicity. That phrase comes up again.
It seems central to their identity.
It does.
Yeah.
Their stated mission is basically to make the market understandable, accessible, and ultimately empower people to make smarter choices.
Then they're not thinking small, are they?
Not at all. They have a pretty bold vision to become the go-to global platform for automotive insights.
A global leader.
Yeah.
That's ambitious.
Very. And to chase that ambition, they've put together a team with quite diverse backgrounds. Well, they highlight people from tech, obviously, but also from finance and directly from the automotive sector itself.
So a mix of skills needed to understand the market and build the tech.
Exactly. That blend seems crucial. They mention key people like Mark Lunding Peterson as CEO, Magnus Wasten, CFO, Anders Holm Jensen, CTO,
Okay.
Jakub Gedkowski, a founding engineer, and Asbjørn Lind, a senior data engineer. It looks like a solid core team with relevant experience.
And how are they planning to go from, say, focusing on Denmark to taking on the world?
They talk about a future-forward vision that involves a phased approach.
Starting local, then expanding.
Pretty much. Start in specific local markets, really nail the insights needed there, then expand regionally, and eventually aim for that global presence.
Learning and adapting as they go.
That seems to be the plan. Building it out step by step, presumably tailoring it to different market needs along the way.
Sounds like a sensible strategy for growth. And who are they inviting to come along on this journey? Who is this really for?
Well, the implication is pretty clear. They're targeting leasing companies, car dealerships, banks, or financiers involved in auto loans, and fleet managers.
The core players who live and breathe this market data every day.
Exactly. Those who stand to gain the most from faster, clearer, more reliable insights.
Okay, so if we were to boil it all down, what are the main takeaways about TrackSights?
I'd say, in essence, it's a platform built to cut through the complexity of automotive data.
Right.
It aims to help businesses make quicker, more informed decisions by integrating lots of EU data, automating complex calculations like residual values, and presenting it all in a user-friendly way.
Offering both the quick overview and the deep dive.
Precisely. That combination of comprehensive data, automation, and usability seems to be their core value proposition.
Okay, so for you listening, here's something to chew on. Think about your own workflow. How much time, how much effort goes into just gathering and trying to make sense of automotive market data right now? Imagine if you had reliable, integrated data instantly available, presented clearly. How might that change your approach? What new possibilities open up when you remove some of that complexity?
It really highlights how technology can potentially streamline things, doesn't it? Even in a really established industry like automotive.
Definitely. It prompts you to think about your current tools and processes.
Yeah, are there smarter ways to get the insights you need? Could platforms like this make a real difference to your strategy or just your daily grind?
Definitely some interesting questions to consider.
Food for thought, for sure.
Thanks for tuning in. You can follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Music, or your favorite app. And connect with us on LinkedIn for more stories and insights.